Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue watching 90 Day Fiancé. Let's watch the show.
Michael, I want to ask you something.
Go ahead.
About Sarah.
What?
Were you completely honest with me about her?
Yes.
Are you only friends?
Yes.
Okay, so let's look at the way she opens this conversation. There's a lot of different options. We saw the way she opens it, which is essentially through implication and accusation. Were you completely honest with me? Is at least partially an implication of, I think you're lying. And then when she says, were you just friends? And he's like, yeah, we've already been over this. So by implication, she's saying, I don't believe what you've told me in the past. Now, there's nothing wrong with her having trust problems in this moment or suspicion, but how do you communicate it? You take ownership for your feelings. You say, honey, I want to talk about something. I know we've already talked about the whole thing with Sarah, but I can't help feeling that something was wrong there. And I'm worried that you did something or that you have feelings for other people, and I don't want to lose you. So can we talk about that? Can you reassure me about something? And I really hope that you can be honest with me because I really need to know what's happening here. I know you've already told me already, and I don't want to accuse you of lying, but I just want to talk about it because I'm still worried about it. I still have feelings about it. And then that's a good opener, right? You're taking responsibility for your feelings. You're not accusing anyone of anything, and you're opening up the conversation. I'm guessing Mike would respond better to that. Now, there's a possibility that Mike wouldn't even open up to that because he's pretty closed off to what I believe to be, or what I hypothesize to be, avoidant attachment style. I don't know. But we saw the way she opened it up. Now, maybe she can recover with a little bit of taking responsibility for her feelings. Maybe say, well, the reason why I'm asking is that I'm worried that you lied to me, or I'm worried that something happened, or I'm worried I'm going to lose you to someone else, or I'm really bothered that you didn't tell me. I'm hurt that you didn't tell me beforehand and that I had to learn about it afterwards the next morning, especially in the way that I found out about it. That really hurt me. I have some traumas around that. And I know you didn't mean it to be hurtful, but it really did hurt me. Okay, that'd be another way of opening up. And then he could say, "Oh, I'm really sorry," and then he could say, this is why I did it. Now I know I won't do that again. I'm really sorry." Rebuilding. But let's watch the rest.
Like Sarah's like my sister. She sees me as a brother. That's it. What don't you still not understand?
Because what you did.
What did I do?
You lied to me.
About what?
About a lot of stuff.
I didn't lie to you about anything. I did not lie to you. I don't know what else to tell you.
Okay, so we see the result of this. She is accusation. You lied to me. No clarification about what the lie was. He's defending himself. And yeah. So I just want to point out that we didn't see the whole session with the therapist, but we did see a little bit. And it was, at least in the part we saw, the therapist said, you need to go home and you need to ask for clarification about a few things because we need to determine if this is appropriate or inappropriate. And I suppose that's what Natalie is doing right now.
In Natalie's country, it's unusual for guys to have friends that are girls, and it's very unusual for girls to have guy friends. Here in America, I think if you asked, 100 women if they have a guy friend, it'd probably almost be 100 for 100. I didn't do anything wrong.
Okay, so that's a good point in that maybe for the two of them, they come from different cultures around if it's okay for heterosexual men and women to be friends. I agree with Mike that it's totally fine for people to be friends. And yeah, maybe there's a little bit of concern there from partners, but you can work it out. You'd be like, no, believe me, this person is just a friend. And you reassure and you make sure you don't cross any boundaries. Now, maybe Mike crossed a boundary there and he should have not. Maybe he should have communicated to Natalie a little bit more compassionately or a little bit more proactively. But anyway, the point is that he did something that maybe wasn't that bad, but a little bad. And she had a normal reaction to that. It wasn't a complete blow up, but it was a reaction. And how do they talk to each other about it? Do they take responsibility for their feelings? Do they communicate in a way that provokes empathy from the other person? Do they, express empathy for each other in that moment? This is a pretty easy thing to recover from if they go back to Dave, the couples therapist. This is perfect for that. Maybe they'll do that.
Michael, I don't get stoned at some guy's house and wake up half naked at his house and call you. I never do it.
I wasn't naked.
I don't cheat, I don't lie. You cheat and you lie and you get caught.
Wow. Okay. So maybe she's right. Maybe he did cheat. Maybe he did lie. But there doesn't seem to be strong evidence of that. It was the night before her wedding, I want to point out. That doesn't necessarily mean there wasn't cheating going on, but it doesn't seem likely, particularly the way Mike is talking about it. So, and particularly the way Mike answered the phone while he was at her house. I don't know. I'm not defending Mike. I'm just saying there's not strong evidence for cheating. It's possible. Maybe Natalie knows more detail than we do. But now we're in a situation where she's just like, you are a cheater, you're a liar, and yeah, this is probably not going to end well.
Michael, I don't get stoned at some guy's house and wake up half naked at his house and call you. I never do it.
I wasn't naked.
I don't cheat, I don't lie. You cheat and you lie and you get caught. This is the problem and I cannot stand it.
Now, again, there's nothing wrong with her saying, I do not go to a guy's house and get stoned and sleep at their house. I don't do that. That's okay. She's saying this, these are the boundaries that I would like to have in our relationship. I'm guessing they didn't have that conversation. Maybe they did. I'm guessing they didn't have that explicitly, and she had that rule, and he did not necessarily have that rule. Maybe for him, he'd be like, well, if you were spending the night at your best friend's house before his wedding, I would be okay with that, honestly. I mean, who knows what he'd say. But the point is that, her feelings are normal. I think a lot of people would be like, wait, you spent the night at a woman's house and like alone together? No, you don't. You're not supposed to do that. We're together. That's fine. How do you talk about it with each other? Do you do this or do you do something else? Now, Mike, of course, his side of this, he could actually step up and say, honey, I hear you, and you're right. I should have driven home. I should have driven home. I should have told you beforehand. One thing led to another, and I got stoned, I got drunk, and I didn't want to drive, and I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that, and you're right. And you're right to be upset. And I just want to reassure you, though, that nothing happened. I did not cheat, and I did not lie, but I get your feelings, and you're valid, and you're right. And I didn't know that we had this rule, but it makes sense to me, and I will follow this rule from now on. You're okay. I get it, and I'm sorry. Do you forgive me? I should have told you beforehand. I should have driven home. You're right, but I want to reassure you, nothing happened. What I'm apologizing for is sleeping at a friend's house who happens to be a woman, which I get your feelings around, but I'm not apologizing for cheating because I didn't cheat. He could intuit that and extend himself into the conversation as well.
Why do you continue to dig into it?
Because
it's over with. You're here.
Michael, you betrayed me.
Move past it.
How can I trust you?
I didn't betray you. I can't even go to a restaurant and order from the waitress.
Michael, I'm not jealous.
Natalie,
I
you
never
are the
got
most jealous person
Michael.
alive. You get all crazy and start yelling at me.
All right. So this is when the walls come down and all the resentment comes out in a lot of anger and accusation. So this is the problem when you put up walls, is that eventually they come crashing down and then all of it comes flooding out in a very, shall we say, exaggerated form. They could have avoided this by having calm conversations as they went about all these issues. Mike could have said, honey, you get jealous a lot and I don't know what to do about that. Or, honey, I just want to reassure you that you're the only one for me. You don't got to worry about other people, that kind of thing. But now they're at this situation. It's pretty unfortunate that it's come to this.
As soon as we leave the restaurant, you are extremely jealous. Why are you so jealous?
Now, I don't recommend people argue with one person sitting down and the other person standing, particularly a large man. you should probably sit down or move away. You don't want to be looking down at people. That's a bad look. It can be very intimidating. It's not a good, it's not conducive to constructive communication.
I never was jealous to my ex-husband because he never gave me a reason. You gave me many reasons.
Right, Natalie?
It's true, Michael, it's true, and you know it.
Right.
And it's funny because I'm much beautiful than you.
Your beauty is ugly.
Really?
It is, okay?
Wow. So now they're just insulting each other's looks. That she says, I'm much more beautiful than you. And then he comes back with your beauty is ugly. I wonder what that means.
You're ignoring me instead of working on me and you. We are physically right here. You don't care about me. I'm tired of talking about it.
I mean, if she can't trust me, then I mean, and she continues to say stuff like that, and this road continues to get even more bumpier, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like things are going to work out for the two of them. Now, I don't know all the details of what happened with the Sarah thing, but I'm going to hypothesize that for Natalie, she has some kind of traumas around abandonment, some kind of traumas around being hurt by other people prior to, most of us do, but I think maybe significantly. And she's hurt by the possibility of the cheating, definitely, and that's normal. She's hurt by the fact that she suddenly realized as she's talking to, wait, you're at her house in the morning and you don't have your shirt on and you were high last night. And, you know, that's a kind of a shock to the system, particularly if you have traumas from the past. That's all normal, but it becomes amplified by the traumas of the past, by the relational traumas in one's past. I don't know that about Natalie. There's been no indication of that, but it could be. And the feelings become amplified. The hurt becomes amplified. And when we have a lot of hurt, we often will transfer that into anger and then into hostility and accusations and being very sure of yourself and fighting and criticism. So I don't know if that's what we're looking at. Maybe if Mike were to calm her down by saying, I love you, I get your feelings, I should have, you know, all the things I said earlier, maybe she would get down, the hurt would come down a little bit, and she would say, well, I guess what I'm really hurt by is that you didn't call me beforehand, and I don't want to lose you. Maybe she would be able to get there. But given the way that she brings it up and given the way that he responds to it, it results in this.
We don't fit together at all. I don't even think you like me.
Well, not now. That's interesting. And again, he doesn't speak from his position. He doesn't say, I don't think I like you. I don't want to be in this relationship. It's always, I don't think you like me. I don't think you love me. Are we in love with each other? You tell me if we're in love with each other. And an hypothesis about that is that to reveal your inner workings, you are being vulnerable, and then you're more susceptible to being hurt. It's much easier to live in other people's minds and comment on that. And so he's saying, I don't think you like me. I don't think we work together. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of audience members would agree with that. I'm not quite sure. Let's listen back to that.
We don't fit together at all. I don't even think you like me. I'm not ready to marry you at all. You're always living in the past. When I want to try to move forward and really try something with you, but I feel like I'm the only one that's ever tried.
Okay. It's not breaking up, right? He's saying, I don't want to marry you. So maybe he's saying, I'm still open to this dating relationship. I don't know. But okay. So it's pretty definitive. He's being open. He's being clear for the most part. That's I think, a positive step. It's a tragedy. As I've always said, I think these two have potential. If they could continue to go to the couples therapist, I think they could potentially find ways to communicate to each other along the lines of what I've been saying. But maybe not.
When Michael talks to me, sometimes details don't match. And I feel like he's not being honest. Right now, it pisses me off because Michael says, either you forget everything what happened, either I'm not marrying you. It's a sneaky way to get out of situation. He never admitted.
All right, so it's an interesting perspective, and it's not uncommon when you're in a lot of fighting like this. But her story is that he absolutely has cheated on me. He's been lying about it for the past year and a half. You caught that detail, that this is something that happened a year and a half ago. And he's trying to trick me into getting me to forget the past so that he can marry me. That's a pretty interesting narrative. It could be true. It doesn't seem likely, but it could be true.
If he would come and say, Natalie, this situation happened, and I'm sorry for that. If he would explain to me the reasons and situation, but I knew that he's honest, I would forgive.
Okay, depending on what she's saying right there, I agree with her. That if he were to be more forthcoming of like, let me tell you what happened. This happened, and this happened, and this happened. Nothing happened between me and Sarah, but this happened, this happened. It did not occur to me to call you. I wish I had beforehand, and I felt bad, and I'm sorry. And yeah, I'm guessing that would help. So she's right about that for sure.
But I don't think he will do it.
But I think another possibility is that she's saying, I know he cheated on me, and if he admits that he did it and told me the reasons why he cheated on me, then things might be able to move forward. So, I don't know. All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself, really, because you deserve it. You really, really do.